Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. What is happening? All you coaches out there. We've got a special guest today, Mr. Christian Jensen. Yeah, stepping in for the one and only Christian, stepping in for Cabo today.
I know normally secret behind the scenes, and here I am.
Yeah, this guy gets to step out from behind the curtain and actually jump into this thing. And we brought you on. This was perfect because our topic today was and is how to coach the worst class possible. So we wanted somebody like you, Christian, to jump on. Oh, look at who it is.
Oh, goodness.
What's up, Cabo?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm down here in Tropical Storm. I'm reporting live from Tropical Storm Aaron.
Nice. All right. Is it raining? Is it bad? What's going on?
It's pretty windy.
Okay. Well, we are jumping into this thing. Christian, I want to hear from you around worst class. What is possible with that thing? What would be starting the class off? What would make the worst thing possible just to kick things off?
First thing jumps to mind, I coached at 6 a.m. this morning, so my favorite is just don't even show up on time. I'm gonna send whatever, my member who I know shows up every day. I'm just gonna shoot him a text, and I'll be there, in 20 minutes. Go ahead and start the warm up without me. It's on the board.
Now this is a funny one because it's like I don't know a coach that hasn't missed an early morning class on accident, right? Not on purpose, right? And not repeatedly. So it's one of those deals where it's like, hey, there's the potential that you sleep in once. And I know for myself how devastated I was. We've had coaches at our gym that have done it as well. But to your point, it's like consistently not showing up for class time is unacceptable. It's like you get one, in my opinion, you get one strike and you're out. That's it. You got your one. I get it. Alarm didn't go off. You forgot what day of the week it was. That's it. But
I had this. I actually had I did this. I was so embarrassed. I had a lady who was set up for a trial, and I was like, "Hey, we're gonna come in 6 a.m. I'm gonna be there," and I just overslept it, and I just didn't hear back from her. Totally missed it. It was embarrassing. But yeah, I'm gonna do it daily, every day.
Yeah, and then you're texting the person or you're texting a member that has a key to get in and is like, hey, write the workout on the board. You've been here long enough. Take people through that. It's like, if we're trying to run a professional gym and a world-class experience, that is definitely not it. I feel like that was something that was kind of acceptable in 2007, 8, maybe 9. I wouldn't even say it was ever acceptable, but it was a little bit, it happened. But nowadays it just cannot happen. Absolutely cannot happen. So I'm with you there. So you got to show up. Step number 1, you've got to be there, and you've got to be there on time. Doors have to be open. Equipment has to be set up. The whiteboard needs to have the workout on it. You need to be ready to rock and roll. Now, saying you get there on time and the doors are open, what else could make this a horrible experience?
Oh, I'm not ready to go at all. I'm gonna roll in, and we're just gonna figure it out as we go. There's no workout on the board. I've got none of the equipment out. I went to I won't name a gym, but I dropped into a gym last year, and we walked in, and there was 5 or 6 people around, and one person greeted me, and I was like, oh, they must be the coach. And lo and behold, they weren't the coach. The coach walked in 1 minute before class and was frantically writing the workout on the board, had nothing ready to go, did not greet me. And so that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna roll up and we'll figure it out when we get there. I've got no workout on the board, no plan. We're just gonna roll with the punches.
You got to be ready to rock and roll. Not only there on time, but also ready to rock and roll. I think something else that you can add to that is the folks that just, would be, as people are walking in, not even acknowledge anybody, you imagine being in there? And I've been to place, I've experienced this where it's like people are walking in, nobody says anything to me, to anybody else. To your point, you're like, who's the coach? Especially if you're new there, who's the coach? Who's running the show? What's going on with this thing? Not saying anybody's name or throwing the hey dude, what's up, bro? Hey sport, good to see you, champ, and not actually know anybody's name, like you've forgotten their name.
I was going there, Allison. Go ahead, you go, Jens.
Yeah, coach does not meet any of the 6 domains and simply doesn't care what's going on. Yes, I think that's what we're leading to with this thing. Allie, what do we got going on here? Coach is eating or drinking on their phone and not engaging. Yeah.
So I'm going to roll late with Starbucks. So clearly, not only was I late, I just had to stop and get coffee. So I was good to go.
Yeah, the reason that you're late is stopping and making that grab to, it's like the coffee is way more important than the members at my gym and making this thing happen. Looking at their phone and just like class, well, from there, not even starting class on time, and then not even giving a whiteboard brief. All right, guys, workout and warm-ups on the board. Go ahead and get started as you're drinking your coffee or eating your food and just kind of hanging out right there. I
also like the good old like lazy, like, hey, go ahead and hop on a machine while I like get my life together. Like, go ahead and spend 4 minutes on a bike, and I'm like scrambling to get my stuff.
You can send people on the old mile-long warm-up run. How about that? Just get them out of the gym and get people moving and be like, all right, we're gonna run a mile just to kill as much time as you possibly can.
We're gonna do last minute, change the workout. We're doing a 5K day, so go ahead and head outside, 3-mile run. I'll see you guys back here in 30 minutes.
All right. So let's talk about, we've talked about some things to start the class that obviously are not great. So instead, what are we doing? How do we make this thing a better experience from the jump?
What I use in my gym that you guys teach in coach development that I've learned from Affiliate U is we have an ideal class experience. And so before we even start a class, before we even like lesson plan, my gym has laid out, it's literally check boxes. And so we know like what's a uniform expectation for class. And so for us, we've got like 6 different sections of class, starting with the whiteboard brief on time. You got to do a general warm up. You got to plan a specific warm up. We're going to take a bathroom break. We're going to hit the workout. We're going to do the cool down. And I start with that because it's like now we know consistently like what's this thing need to look like. And then we like go and break each of those sections down from there.
And so with the start of class, what else is included? So you talked about be there on time, start on time, hit the whiteboard brief. I've experienced, and this was way back in the day, where it's like the general warm-up is, all right, guys, we're going to start the workout in about 8 minutes. Do what you need to do to get ready. Clearly, that's not the kind of experience that we want. So how do we give more direction there and avoid something like that? And we've talked about it, and we all know that the general warm-up should get the body primed and ready for the workout. Should get the joints lubed up, ready to go, get the body moving through the range of motion that's going to be seen in the workout. What else are some of the things there that's like going to be critical as far as just making a better experience for the folks in our class?
Yeah, so I tell my coaches like so at my gym, I plan the general warm up so they don't have to do it. But even if you plan it yourself, this applies. Where I tell them we're not just prepping our athletes physically. It's not just like, hey, go through the motions and hit these movements. Like we're also priming them to be ready to receive coaching. So right from the get-go, we're already like saying people's name, greeting them, and starting to give them cues on some of these like easier movements so that when we start later on getting into specific warm-up, we've already had some sort of interaction. We're checking in with them. We know how they're feeling. They're already like ready to receive cues and starting that like right from the get-go with that general warm-up, getting coaching.
Yeah, I think this is the opportunity to start connecting with the folks and saying people's names. If we make it through the general warm-up and we've not said everybody's names yet, I think we're really missing an opportunity there. if we've said nobody's names and not made eye contact with anybody and not connected with anybody and just sat and looked at her phone and drank our coffee, that is about as rough of an experience as we can possibly have. And Vicente asked the question, what's the etiquette in coffee sips while coaching? I like the fact that you said sips. If it's a grab it and sip real quick as you walk over to the, depending on how your gym's set up, a lot of times there's a table where the phone's at, maybe your coffee is sitting there and you take a sip as you turn up or turn down the volume. I think you're all right. I think the etiquette what not to do as far as the coffee is concerned is maintain the cup in your hand as you walk around doing your thing. It's like, keep it sat down. If you grab it, take a drink. I think we can live with that.
I think maybe we should add to the worst class experiences, getting one of those like sporting event hats and just putting a coffy on the. Have you seen those?
Yeah,
like,
so you're just
I just got
drinking
like
those.
a straw. I got a straw in it, and we'll walk around with this so I can.
I don't know. That's kind of forward thinking right there. You need your coffee that bad, but you don't want to hold it in your hands. I don't think that's too bad.
Or a Camelback.
I can remember some of the early day things that I did starting classes, or oftentimes this was like doing like intros and one-on-ones or fundamentals or whatever it was, is that I would be taking class. I'd be like, well, I scheduled it for 6 and I'm going to take the 5 o'clock class, not thinking how the person that's showing up for the session at 6 will probably get there at 5:45 or at least a little bit before. And regardless, I'm going to need to not look disheveled and like destroyed. And so going straight from a workout, shirt off, sweaty, panting, and then somebody's in who's terrified. Yeah, exactly. Like probably terrified to be there. And now we're going in and like not making a good first impression in this thing.
Yeah, sweaty, shirtless.
Shaking hands like Todd full of sweat. Oh man, did you see what I did over there? That was 225 pounds. Pretty cool, right?
You see those muscle ups? Yeah, I just got those.
Yeah, just did that. So making sure that we're in a position to where we're ready to coach and not just fresh out of our workout or running late or all the rest of that stuff.
How do you guys have back-to-back classes at your gym, Todd?
No, we do the 15-minute buffer in between two. Well, there are some scenarios where it's like a coach is filling in, somebody like last minute, something comes up, somebody gets sick, and we're going to grab somebody to jump in and take a class. And they're like, well, I was planning on working out at 4:15. I'll coach the 5:30 if it's cool that I still work out. And it's like, yeah, I want you to still get your workout in. And that 15-minute buffer allows at least a little recovery time so you can start class and not be destroyed, which makes a big difference. You guys go back to back, or you guys have a buffer?
No, we have back to back. I like the idea of the buffer. We just don't have that. But our coaches know that if you're working out in the class before, that whoever's coaching just knows like, hey, I'm going to be dipping out of class like 10 minutes early. But that's also, going back to I know we haven't gotten there, but going back to like our lesson plan is like we plan for ideally about like 10 minutes in a cool down. And so if you're running your class the way you're supposed to be running your class and a coach is taking your class and they got to dip out, that's not a big deal. Opposed to if you've got this crazy lesson plan, you're running all the way out to the 0, like not only did your athletes not get a cool down, you just screwed the coach who's taking your class that's coaching right afterwards.
Yeah, I think those are big factors to consider and just realize like, how are we going to accommodate this and make this happen, right? Things happen. Somebody's going to take a workout before class, and giving them the grace to dip out and do things like that is going to be huge. When it comes to we've talked about whiteboard brief, but when it comes to the workout, being specifics can be important too. I know there's back in the day when I wasn't very clear on understanding what the stimulus is and trying to determine that, or like writing a workout that I didn't know what I was doing, and either thinking that mid-workout that it was too hard or too easy and then making adjustments mid-workout. Do you imagine that being like, all right, we're going to do 3 rounds of this, and then the workout's going, you're like, you know what, guys, let's go 10 rounds of this thing.
I remember that I didn't know for the first 2 or 3 years that I did CrossFit, I didn't know that ring rows were an option. Like it was like you did pull-ups, or I think we might have pulled out a box and did like jumping pull-ups, but like that was those are the two options. Either you figured out a kipping pull up, or you did jumping. And I was like, oh, like I didn't know we had other options. It was just like, figure it out. This is what we're doing. And there was no stimulus. It was just like, get it done.
So stimulus, scaling options. Another thing worst possible is like, hey, you've got to try to do this RX or you can't do the workout. Same deal. I know. I remember a time when that was a thing. No, that's what the workout is. So you're going to do that. And if you can't do that, then you need to come to a different class or do something different. Let's see what Allergy says here. Ever seen coaches shame people for not trying to go RX? Yes.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Allie, have you experienced that as well? I think there was a point where like that was all that mattered, was like, hey, this is what the workout is. There is no stimulus as far as time is concerned. It's like, this is the workout. And I can remember that for myself of doing something like Diane, whereas we know that should be like less than 10 minutes. And it's 22 minutes into this thing. And I'm doing singles on my deadlifts. I'm doing, singles on my handstand push-ups, not even close. But I'm like, well, this is what the workout said it was supposed to be.
Yeah, there was like this season of, if you can, you should. Regardless on what, like, there was no stimulus. It's like, if you can do muscle ups, cool, you're doing 30 muscle ups for a time. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. Or like your point with Diane is like, if you could do handstand push-ups, have fun grinding through Diane.
And here's the deal with that too, is like, yes, there was a time when that was it because that's what the workout was. It's evolved clearly, but there's a lot of, I think, athletes that still have that mindset that like, if I don't do it RX, I'm not getting as good of a workout. I'm not actually doing this thing. And they've got a lot of like identity tied up in doing it as prescribed. So I'm curious to know, how do you work with your athletes and convince them and help them understand that like doing less weight or not that movement is not in any way less of a workout? And a lot of times it's harder. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the chat as well. What do you guys do with those folks, and how do you create the culture and convince people that not doing it as prescribed is perfectly fine and acceptable?
Yeah, so I have like, there's two different types of people that come into mind when you say that. There's one, and I met with two ladies this week who are coming to check out a new 9 a.m. class that I'm rolling out at my gym. And they're the kind of person who's showing up. They're both new moms, and they showed up and they're basically like, hey, I've done CrossFit before, and I went full ham sandwich and I felt beat up, and I don't psychologically or physiologically want to do that anymore. But I know how I am when the workout starts, and I need some guidance to make sure that I don't smash my face in the pavement. And one of them in particular had said that, they'd gone to a CrossFit gym prior, and they had said that just because of the culture, and it was like, they said it was, it was a great culture. The coaches were great, but just the way the culture was, that they would get caught up in this RX wave where they felt like they had to like get up to speed, and everybody's like really prioritized with going as hard as fast as possible. And they were like, I don't want that anymore. And so I told them that in my gym, like, we're just as likely to talk somebody into pushing themselves to putting more weight on the bar as I am to talking somebody else off the ledge. And for us, that starts with going all the way back to like the stimulus, where it's like, what are we trying to get out of this workout? And then it also layers into, what are you trying to get out of your training? And for them, they're like, I'm a new mom and I want to train to be capable outside of the gym. I want to be able to go play on the playground with my kids without being like sore and having some shoulder injury and being concerned that I can, play with my kids. Like, I want to feel good when I work out. And so just reminding them when they're wanting to flirt with danger, I'm like, hey, like, is this something that's going to make you feel good? Are you going to be able to come back and play tomorrow? Or are you going to be out for the count for a few days? And so that's how I approach them. And I've got other athletes who like that do CrossFit a really long time. And they are those folks who are just like, if I can, I should. And for them, it is also going back to like, hey, like, what do you want out of your training? Do you want to come back tomorrow? How are you going to feel tomorrow if you do this thing? And more often than not, it's like, oh, like I'm going to feel like somebody hit me with a car. I'm like, okay, well, how would you feel if you did 8 out of 10 of that? Like, oh, I'd probably get a good workout and I'd feel good. I'm like, cool, let's do that. They're
You'll
like,
be able
okay.
to come back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's important sometimes to give people permission to not do that, to not do it RX or not feel like they have to smash themselves to come back with this thing. Yeah, so getting the stimulus right is going to be critical, not just abandoning and just here's the workout. I need you guys to do the workout. Let's see what happens with this thing. When it comes to actually coaching, seeing and correcting, I can see this one. Worst class experience is a handful of different things. Number one is not doing any sort of corrections or cueing at all. Just like showing people the movement, go ahead and start doing it and then go from there.
I remember the first CrossFit gym I went to, we were we were doing the snatch and the coach was like, hey, Christian, go ahead and do an empty bar snatch. And he's like, all right, everybody, that's what it looks like. Let's go.
Yeah, just get going. This is it and get going. And this one's tough too. Allie is like, hey, this essentially is be careful of hiring a coach that doesn't actually do CrossFit or believe in CrossFit. This is another example of what would make a terrible class, is somebody that doesn't believe in the program and then just talks trash or like rolls their eyes based on what they're having to coach right there. I think this is yes, I like that. I think a big piece with that is I always start, like, even whether it's a coach that obviously if it's a coach that I'm trying to develop from within inside the walls of the gym, they're already members, so I know whether they believe in it or not. But if I'm going to hire somebody from outside, it's like, you've got to come be an athlete and be a member first. If you're not invested in the program, you're probably not going to be a coach at my gym. Or if you want to do your own workouts or you don't do any of that kind of stuff. So Allie, I'm with you there. Your screening process has gotten a lot better. I like that.
That also applies to, like, I know she gave the example of like somebody who's bashing CrossFit, but like that could also be a coach who's bashing your programming.
Right.
Where it's like, you got to be bought in. And so like, either as an owner, like figuring out how do I get my coaches bought into this program and how do I get my team unified behind what we're doing? Or as a coach, if you've got beef with your owner about the program, like keep it behind the curtain. When you're out in front, own it. We're unified in the public, and then we can duke it out behind the scenes if need be.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point. Is like, you're not always going to see eye to eye with your owner or like believe in the workouts, or maybe you don't like the extra credit work you're doing or the nutrition challenge that you're running. You don't think that that's appropriate. You can't imply any of that to your members, because that just causes that uncertainty from everybody else. To the public, to your members, you've got to be 100% bought in. And I think a lot of the things we're talking about here with not running a very strong class is rooted in that. You don't believe in the way that they're doing things there, it's going to make it tough, because as soon as you don't believe, everybody's looking up to you as the coach or as a leader, it's going to be hard for them to believe as well.
Well, and if you have that attitude, who's that attitude for? Is it for your members or is it for you? And you might think to yourself like, oh, I do it because I care about my members. But I'd be willing to wager, if you got that attitude, it's because you're more concerned with being right than you are concerned with them having a good experience today.
Well, and that's the whole thing too, is like, is it for you or for your members? If you don't like somebody's programming, sorry, like, it doesn't, like, the programming is not that important, all things considered, right? Like, if my athletes consistently come and go hard and they pay attention to what they eat, they're going to get results. Like, there's not a CrossFit program out there that won't get results. It just works too well as long as you do it consistently. So, to your point, making people question whether the workouts are any good or not is not going to be beneficial to anybody. Going back to the concept of like the actual coaching, the seeing and correcting, obviously saying nothing is going to be a big deal and not a great experience. The other one of like just telling people what they're doing wrong and not actually cueing. Hey, just squat lower. Hey, do it right on the next rep. Like, that does nothing for us here.
Yeah, and I know the title for today was the worst CrossFit class experience. and this definitely doesn't represent the worst, but it is an area for improvement, is I've also seen coaches who get really, they're working on being a better coach, and they dive really deep into seeing and correcting, so much so that it becomes too much in the specific warm-up. Either it's too long, they're trying to like cue too many things, they're instead of triaging, we're just trying to fix everything at the same time. You got athletes holding in positions too long, and now you've created an experience that's well meant, but now like it's not fun for anybody, and nobody wants to do that crap.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we've talked about a bunch of things that make a terrible experience. You've dropped into some gyms. Tell me, what are the things and what have you experienced that make that make the experience great? And I'd love to hear from anybody paying attention or listening on the stream. Like, what are the things that you felt as an athlete that make the experience amazing?
I think the most underrated thing that can make an amazing experience is your members going up to new people and introducing themselves.
So really just feeling welcomed. It's
yeah.
like, can you make everybody in your gym feel welcomed? And so that starts from the top. Whoever's coaching, saying hi when there's a new face in the gym, introducing them to everybody else, coming up with some sort of fun fact that maybe will spark interest to where other members of the gym have something in common and they can talk about, have common ground with that. Yeah. making them feel welcome and comfortable. I think that's huge.
And I've noticed, like, you can get away with, like, if you can make a fun and welcoming environment, you can get away with a lot. And we rightfully spend so much time talking about teaching, seeing, correcting, and helping coaches develop their skills, which you need to be doing. But if you're like a brand new coach, like, you can get away with a lot by making people feel included and have a good time.
Yeah, I think that's going to be huge. Like, if people have a good time, it covers up a lot of everything else. Kristin, welcome. No longer in the vehicle. Welcome to the call.
No,
you made it.
Thanks. I'm excited to treat this call like I would running a bad class.
Yeah, exactly. 30 minutes late. Are you guys still hanging out? Or can we start now? All right, here's the workout. It's on the board. Go ahead and do it.
Did you get drive-through coffee also? We talked about that. If you're going to be late, make sure you roll up with Starbucks too.
Yeah, I know I was running late, but I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't come to class without my coffee anyways. Now I was just asking Christian about, we've talked about some things that make a class not fun, not a great experience, but what are some of the things you've experienced that are critical to make it like a world-class experience, especially if you're dropping into a different gym, if it's not your own gym? Like, what are some things that you've experienced, Kristin, that's made the class like just a top-notch experience?
I mean, for starters, the coach needs to approach me immediately and introduce themselves.
Yeah, so you're not like lost, walking around looking for somebody. Who am I here to talk to? What's going on with that? Yep. Love it. Yeah, Christian was just saying, is like feeling welcomed, being welcomed by the other members, somebody else saying hello to you, being introduced in front of the class. What would we got from Shane here? 100% agree on the member meeting new members. Also, the energy the coach puts forth while coaching. It is the little things they see and can help that make you more efficient. It's an interesting dynamic of, like, I've seen it one of two ways. You get you're a new athlete in a gym, and either you get all the attention or none of the attention. And I think the energy and giving you the right amount of attention, it's like, I'm there, I'm paying a drop in. Yes, I want to get a workout, but I want to get coached for sure. And so give me some attention there.
If you give them too much attention, like especially new athletes who are like trying out your gym for the first time, you can actually give them a weird experience by giving them too much attention, because then they feel soloed out, opposed to, if Todd's new and he sees me giving Cabo just as much coaching as everybody else, and Todd gets just as much coaching as everybody else, then it's like, oh, okay, this is just how they run things here, opposed to he's babysitting me because I'm new.
Yes, I think that's critical. And so going into a class and just coaching classes in general, trying to give equal attention and coaching to everybody. To Shane's point, it's like it's that kind of attention to detail that really shows that you care. I'm trying to make everybody better. I'm trying to connect with every single person in the class. I'm not only just coaching. I've seen it on both sides of the spectrum, where you've got the coach that only wants to interact with the quote unquote best athletes in the gym, because it's like they look up to them, or like they think they're great, or they think they're really cool, and so want to have that connection with them, and then it leaves everybody else behind. Or the flip side of that, you've got the brand new people that probably don't do this stuff quite as well, and now they get all of the attention, and they feel like they're getting quote unquote picked on because they don't know how to do this stuff very well, while everybody else is ignored and allowed to do their own thing. And all of a sudden, like to your point, Christian, you feel that and you're like, all right, this was not very fun. I must not be very good. They're only giving cues and corrections to me. I don't know if this is for me.
And then you communicate now to the rest of your community. You do that in a long enough timeline. You communicate to the rest of the community that I'm so good, I don't need cues now. And then if you try swinging back around, you're like, oh, I need to level up my coaching. Now you're going to run into a roadblock because your athletes think that they're too good to receive coaching because they're not new anymore.
Yeah, when you try to flip the switch, if you've not coached a certain demographic and then you try to, they're like, wait a second, what's going on? What changed? Why are you doing this to me now? Or maybe it's just a new coach comes in and they've coached before. They're in Coach Dev or the Knowledge Pro, and they're learning how to teach the incorrect. And then all of a sudden they're trying to do so. And these people are like, knock that off. I've not been coached here. No one's told me to push my knees out when I squat. I do it just fine. Look at how much weight I lift. And you're like, wait a second, that's not it.
Check on my brand time. I'm good. I'm good, boss. Thanks anyway. Did
you see that? It says 4:25. Not that that's not a good time, but anyways.
One of the things that we'll tell people at the end of the level 2 courses, because we just fire hose them with new strategies and just feedback, is don't go into your class on Monday and try to implement all of this at once and change everything at once. Because to your guys' point, if your members aren't used to that and then suddenly you just come in hot, then that it can put people off a little bit.
Exactly. What else? So cueing and correcting, obviously in the specific warm-up, we want a good balance of that. Everybody should be getting connected there. We should be actually teaching the movements. If they're complex movements, using progressions. If they're simple movements, layering in points of performance, covering movement standards, all of that kind of stuff. We should be helping guide and gauge our athletes' loading and reps for that specific warm-up. And then during the workout itself, we continue to cue and correct, but what else are we doing during that workout? Like what would be a bad experience? Workout starts, 3, 2, 1, go. The clock starts.
Now I'm on my phone, and it's time for me to catch up on all the Instagram posts I missed while I was busy doing the specific warm up. So the class is finally, they're off on their own. I've covered the workout. It's time for them to do the workout, and now it's my time. It's my time.
Even better, you just film them the whole time. You just take, all you're doing is videos and pictures the whole time.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's a hard balance, because I know that, a lot of coaches and gyms need to capture content. They use it for their social media, for their marketing. But to find the balance of like, okay, when am I going to take some cool videos and shots that I can use for my marketing, but not let that overtake the fact that all I'm doing is behind my phone and I'm not coaching anymore.
And then all of a sudden
actually did this
to selfies. It's not just me coaching that for content. It's me just selfies.
I actually did that yesterday. We did a workout that was clean and jerks and running, or I'm sorry, clean and jerk, or cleans and bike. And it was 5 rounds and you go on the clock. And so what I did was the first 2-3 rounds was just coaching and making sure hey, all the things that we did in the specific warm up actually did translate to what we wanted in the workout. Because sometimes you think it went well, and then all of a sudden round 1, you're like, oh, we need to pivot. And so making sure people are moving well. And then once I got everybody going, I took 3 quick 5-second videos, and then I just moved on with my life.
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate way to do that, is Like, I got a coach to begin with, see where things are at. Obviously, as they get more tired, the form and technique might break down as well. So you don't want to do it at the very end. But being very, I would just say, deliberate with what you're doing and when you're doing it, I think is the important part with that there. I think the big thing to take away is that workout comes, you need to be engaged. You can't check out. It can't be like, let me scroll my phone. Let me go sit in the corner. You know, there's scenarios where somebody new walks into the gym and you've got to go over and say hi and maybe kind of talk to them a little bit, but your eyes better be on our athletes. And I think a big thing is like checking in with our athletes as well, of like, hey, how you feeling? What's going on? Where are you at? What round are you on? We've got to keep a pulse on where people are at to make sure if we need to make any adjustments mid-workout that we do so. Because the same deal, like if somebody bites off more than they can chew and we don't realize that, and it's a 5-round workout and everybody's getting onto their 5th round and I'm on my 3rd, and now all of a sudden I'm going to be chipping away for 2 more rounds as everybody else has done, that is going to be a terrible experience. And we want to make sure that we're aware of what's going on. We're checking in with our athletes and we're making adjustments if and when we need to.
Well, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the pressure to go RX. And like, here's an opportunity where you have an athlete that is, they're about to burn out and you're like, hey, Todd, last round, call it good. And now I've given him permission to be like, oh, okay, like I'm fine. And more often than not, unless they're that athlete that's ego driven, they're probably going to thank you for it.
Todd and I have talked about that a lot, where coaches will be super hesitant on stepping in and offering a scale, especially mid-workout. But 9 times out of 10, it has been my experience that they look at me and they're like, thank you. Yes. And they're not going to do it on their own. But I come in and encourage, like, hey, let's cut the reps down on this last round, or, you know, whatever the scale is. And they're grateful for it.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to just grind it out and be the last one working for the last 8 to 10 minutes of class while everybody else is done. Allie, you being around a little bit, you've experienced it all, and I've got some of these stories too. But like, hey, what about those muscle ups? I'm not going to bring the rings down because you can't do them anyways. Like, don't, you know, hey, what's the squat snatch? Don't worry about it. You can't do that anyways. I'm not even going to go over that one with you. Like, couldn't you imagine something like that? Like, and I know that I probably did something like that at one point or another as well. So that's pretty wild. All right. So we're checking in with athletes. We're not ignoring them. We're cueing and correcting. We're making sure that they are doing all right throughout the workout. The workout finishes. What's a bad experience is first what we want to see.
A huge pet peeve of mine, I've talked with you, Todd, about this, is when the class just like fizzles out. Just like as people finish their workout, you're putting your stuff away and you're bouncing to where, you know, Cabo's the last one done with the workout. It's an empty gym and she's doing burpees by herself.
Yeah, like kind of it. There's a vibe in the gym where once you're finished with the timed workout, then you're done. Like you can leave. Right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I completely agree with that. And again, like to your point, Todd, this is something, all of these things are things we've all probably experienced at some point. That is quite literally how our gym used to run. Like when I first started, it was just almost this like rolling open gym scenario. And you just kind of find a few buddies to start with, and then you'd finish and it's like you'd leave and people are still going. And yeah. And if that's the case, as the coach, now I'll call people and be like, hey, come on over. Don't put your stuff away yet. Just hang out. If you want to stretch a little bit, that's cool. I've got a plan for everybody once we're done.
That approach of like nobody's done until everybody's done is a hard line in the sand, and you have to fight for that. It is the wildest thing in the world, in my opinion, that it's like I can have members at my gym that have been with me for over 10 years, and they know that you don't put stuff away until everybody's done. And then you have a random drop in that shows up that isn't used to that. And so they finish their workout and they start taking clips off and putting weights away. And then my 10-year members look at them and are like, oh, they're putting stuff away. And so they start putting stuff away. And I'm like, it's like the monkey see, monkey do. I've literally been in classes and stopped my workout to go over and be like, hey, Kristin, you can just chill out, man. We'll all clean up together at the end. Like, to make sure that that does not happen.
You got to catch the first person.
That's okay that we have to continue to remind people of that, right? Because if we have in our head, like, well, that's the rule and I told them and they should know it, and we don't say anything, it's a slippery slope. And before you know it, it's no longer the rule. And now the members have taken over. So yeah, I mean, I'm okay reminding them of that literally every time I coach. I don't care. I'll just let them know.
We do that when we have like a bring a friend week. You know, part of our whiteboard brief will be, because we got new people in class. We're like, hey, just so you guys know, this is how the class is going to go. When the workout's over, just leave your stuff out. We're all going to clean up together. So
front loading it at the beginning, letting everyone know the expectation, so you don't have to run around and like pull people back. Good strategy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we're having an event like that, like Bring a Friend Week, and then we also have ambassadors at our gym, which we've learned from Affiliate U. And part of our role with our ambassadors is like, hey, when you get a new person in class, like, help teach them our norms and our culture, so that they don't feel like a doofus when they do something that they didn't realize they weren't supposed to do. And it's things like that, or it's like, hey, just we're gonna take a bathroom break. Like, we got you. Or here's where the clips are. Or make sure if you use chalk, here's the brushes, so brush the chalk off.
Yeah, it's like giving the leadership role to people that have been with you for a while is such a cool nod to them. And it's like, people that are part of your tribe or your community take pride in that. And now you've given them a role to be a leader. And it's like, oh man, check this out. I didn't know how to, take the weights off the bar when I first started. This is how you do it. It's funny how fired up people get with like, watch this. I'm going to slide them off of one side and then I'm going to flip the barbell up like this. Makes it so much easier. This is awesome. And they're like, wow, this is cool. And so,
or they show them the pro tip how to get in and out of the rower with the straps and the stirrups, and they're like trying to like fight with it. Like, no, let me show you how to do that.
This. It's like, give them the ability to do that. Let them be the ones that are your like you said, your ambassadors that are showing people how to do that. They've learned some things while they've been there, and they've got the ability to share that with others, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's just a great concept in general to find ways that you can still deliver this great experience without 100% of it sitting on your shoulder as the coach. We talk about presence and attitude and getting conversation going with the members. It's not 100% on you to create conversation with everybody. You can, so-and-so is a teacher too. Don't you teach PE? Cool. And then you just like connect them and lean on your people to be able to continue to create that atmosphere that you want. And this is a great example, Kristin, for sure. Just pairing people up, letting each other help each other. So I love it.
I've shared with my coaches too, like sometimes you show up and like, you're not always stoked to coach and you don't have the energy, and knowing who your high energy people are in class and then just getting them going a little bit, and all of a sudden it brings the whole energy of the room up and you didn't have to do it.
Yeah, I say it all the time of like, the smaller the class is, and like depending on who's in there, the harder it is to coach. You think of like 5 or 6 people, and especially if you don't have one of those people that is really energetic, that's going to like get the ball rolling as far as communication or like conversation or that stuff goes. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna have to really put out this entire time. It's so much easier when I've got 12 or 15 people and there's 2 or 3 that are like kind of want to be the class clowns and want to get some attention. And it's like, cool, I'm gonna say the thing that gets you started, and then I'm gonna let you do the deal. I'll keep the wheels on the bus and not let you take it off and like take over the class. But it's so much nicer because I don't have to do all of the energy and bring everything there. I think there's some other things that we can mention here. Music is such a big one. I love like at the beginning of the semester, the beginning of the semester with Coach Deb, we're always like, what makes a great class? And 80% or 90% people are like, a great playlist. And I think you're absolutely right that music is important. But I always like to remind myself that every song that somebody in the gym likes, somebody else probably hates, and vice versa, right? If I hate a song, there's somebody in there that probably likes it. So bad experience would be picking your one favorite song. I know, Kristin, how much you love Nickelback. And if you just play that one song on repeat the entire time, probably not going to be great. People are going to be fired up. You'll have your 2 or 3 other Nickelback fans in there with you, but some of the rest of the folks might.
What about playing Christmas songs all December long for all of your classes?
That is always funny too. Of like, is that even appropriate to play it? Maybe in the warm up or something. A lot of people have opinions on that. I think another thing is, in Kristin, you and I have talked about this, is the volume of music.
Oh yeah, I coached a class at Todd's gym, and he was like, "Hey, the music was fine, and then you made it louder."
Turned it all the way up. Like, some people are like, I know I like hearing loud music when I'm working out, and it's like, well, if I turn it up so loud that I can people can no longer hear me, that's not going to be beneficial. And the louder it is, there's going to be somebody in there. I know for myself, like if it reaches a certain volume, it gives me a headache, and it's like I can't hardly work out. So it's like we want to be loud enough to where we don't hear ourselves breathing and panting and like dying, but it can't be so loud that we can no longer coach our athletes because they can't hear us, or it's so loud that like it's rattling off our brain. It's like almost every one of our classes has somebody in their 60s or 70s. I'm like, there is no way that athlete appreciated the music at that volume. Like, come on.
You see him turning down the hearing aid.
Yeah, right. What are we doing?
I do think that was good feedback, and I've ran with that. And like a gauge that I have for myself now is, can an athlete on the other side of the room hear me if I yell their name? And if they can't, then my music's too loud.
So when you did the class, Christian, your music was too loud, and Todd asked you to turn it down. Is that?
It was feedback. I coached a class at Todd's for feedback, and he told me after the fact, he's like, your music was too loud.
Okay, got it.
It's like, if we were doing a partner workout, or if it's a heavy day and I'm lifting with somebody and I can't talk at a normal volume with the partner right next to me and hear them, it's probably too loud.
I think that is likely more common than we realize, especially once the workout starts. It's like, let's crank it up, let's get the energy high. But again, if it's too loud that you can't coach and people can no longer hear your coaching cues, then
it's going to be tough.
Bring it down just a little bit, just enough.
Yeah. I just got to be able to hear you talk.
At the same time, though, don't make it a library. Like, I walked into class the other day, and one of my coaches they were running a warm up, and there was like no music. I was like, hey, can we turn on like just enough so it's background? Like, I just hear everybody's like hands.
Mood. Yeah.
You hear their hands touching the ground. It's so quiet.
Wrong one. All right. Yeah. Good to have you. That's all right. Everybody was late today. No big deal. It's just this. It's the theme. It's the theme. Couple other things is like thinking about coaches that can only talk about the workout in the class as it relates to how they did in the workout.
Okay.
All right, guys, we got Fran today. So I did it earlier today at 3:47, and I went unbroken in the 21s, but I wanted to put it down the 15s. I didn't. So here's what I'm thinking.
And I love this because this is another area to balance, because we talk about doing the workouts that you're coaching. If you do it, then you can better guide your athletes on what it's going to feel like, how heavy it's going to be, maybe some strategies. And so walking that line between I'm going to do it and I'm going to share with you my experience is so that I can better coach you is so different than what you're saying, Todd, right?
Exactly. Of like, hey, here's what we're thinking, guys. And then you can use that as a reference point. A lot of times we'll be talking to people and they're looking for the weight to use. And I'm like, hey, I did this weight and it was plenty. So I would say do this, right? It's not like I did this weight, check me out. It's like I did this weight, it was too heavy or too light, or it was just right. I think that means that you can either do the same weight, or I know you're a little stronger than I am, so you go up, or maybe this movement's a little bit more challenging, so go down a little bit. So I think, yes, it isn't a look at me. It's a, hey, let me use this information to help educate you on this thing.
And you can call it back to, like, if you coached a friend of theirs in the morning and you're like, hey, they're like, I'm not sure what weight. You're like, well, Todd went 95.
I think you can. Yeah. Somebody that you compete with. Yeah. I think that's a good way to do it. that also brings something else up that I hear a lot of coaches do that I think could be done slightly differently, which is like, hey guys, they're going over a movement. It's like, I like to do this. I like to hold the bar like this. And it's like, well, I don't really care what you like to do. Tell me what we should do. Hey, your feet can be somewhere between hip and shoulder width. I like to do it at hip width. It's like, well, okay, I'm not you. So what should I be doing? So I think giving a little bit more direction there when we're actually coaching, it's like there's a fine line of, yes, I'm going to use my experience to help come up with the tools to educate others, but it needs to be direct and not indirect, or not look at me with things like that.
And just like changing the language could be like, hey, here's a pro tip, or try this instead, opposed to like, this is what I like to do.
Yeah, I think that works.
How do you feel about coaches who say, oh, we got a terrible one today, this one's going to be awful?
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on that.
It can be either way, right? We like, if somebody's like, oh, this workout really sucks, and they kind of really mean it, like, that's tough. That's not going to be great. People are like, oh, this workout sucks. Well, that's not going to be fun. Because at the same time, there's a lot of times where I'll look and I'll be like, guys, look, it's an interval one. This means you have rest. And very sarcastically are like, this also means it's going to be easy because you get a rest. You guys know that. And they know that what I'm telling them is like, hey, there's rest. So guess what? You're going to push the gas pedal down and sell your soul. And so I can get a chuckle out of that. And so I see where you're going with this, but I think there's a fine line there. We shouldn't be like, this is a terrible workout. It's really going to suck. This is so hard. You're going to hate it.
Pull out the trash can. Get ready for it.
Yeah.
What I don't want to hear, though, is if you don't like the programming, right? And you're like, all right, this workout's dumb. Like, but whatever. Like, this is, I don't know why we're pairing these two movements together. This is going to be stupid, but let's just get going on it.
We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, we're going to do it anyway. Like, or if people are like, oh man, we're doing a push and a push, that's going to be a little bit hard. It's like, yeah, I have no idea why they programmed it this way. This is stupid. That I don't love.
I do think, I mean,
to Todd's point, you still got to get behind it,
Yeah. And I think to Todd's point too, there is a balance between using that sort of language to describe the effort that we're going to put out in the workout. Because if it is intervals, I do want to communicate like, hey, this is supposed to be hard and fast. This isn't like your 2 minute on the bike, in between. Like today we did a 200-meter run with box jump overs. Like, this is not the workout to go ham on your 200-meter run. You're going to be done in round 2 if you make these sprints. But then
some education there on like, hey guys, this is a marathon, not a sprint, or this is a sprint, not a marathon. It provides context. So some of that I think is going to be valuable there.
And letting them know too, like you had mentioned, like a push and a push. Like, hey guys, today's going to be really tough. It's a lot of arms, and I know we're doing push-ups and ring dips. Like, I know it's going to blow up. That's the point today.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's huge. All right, Cabo, what else you got? Anything else we need to be aware of? Worst class possible. What do we do instead?
Are we talking about at the very end?
Yeah, just at the very end.
All right. So at the very end, ideally, we're going to have a few minutes, 10 minutes, maybe for our cool down, right? So worst class, I'm going to utilize that time to have my members, clean the bathrooms. So clean the kids' room, maybe the office. All
right, guys, go ahead and put up your equipment. And if you could grab a wipe and wipe down the toilet seats, that would be great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, grab your wipe to wipe your barbell down. Go make sure your rower seats wipe down, and then go on. I'm going to have these people over here. You're going to do that bathroom. These people are going to do that bathroom. And then we've got the vacuum cleaner over there. If you can just sweep all the crumbs from the kids' room. And that'll wrap us up. And we'll see you guys tomorrow once you get all that done.
You might be onto something there. You're not a gym owner. Like, I might take that idea. Like, hey, cool down, bathrooms for time. Let's see what we got. Do like a little, do like a thing like with little kids, like where you could trick them into doing something. Like, I bet you can't go get the mail in 10 seconds, and then be like, I'll time you. All right, Kristin, I bet you can't clean that toilet in under 30 seconds. I mean,
change the garbage to time.
I think he's the fastest.
As CrossFitters, isn't just everything is always for time, and all you have to do is tell people like it's for time, and they will do it. Yeah, don't do that. I would say not to do that.
I mean, even on the opposite though, like not as outrageous, but more common is just like leaving everything out. Like you got bars still on the floor, you got like equipment everywhere, and the next coach is gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Could you imagine being at the position where it's like your athletes, you haven't set the tone that your athletes have to clean up after themselves? And now it's either your job and you're like, it's a long day, I don't feel like it, I'm just going to go home. Last class of the day, I'm tired. Somebody else will put this away tomorrow morning. Like, there's nothing worse than getting there for the 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. class and you walk in and crap's everywhere, and you've got to
all the rowers from last night are still there.
You got to spend the first 18 minutes cleaning up and putting stuff away. And yeah, that's
now here's some exceptions to that I can think of though. If there are things like box jumps or rowers, then I'll often ask the next coach coming in, like, hey, do you want the group to put the rowers away, or do you want me to leave them out? And then I'll leave it up to that coach, because if they're going to have to get them down anyway, then it's like, well, why not just leave them out and make it easier for everyone? But the purpose there is to make it easier, not harder. And I'll always run it by the coach, because if they have a different plan, maybe they have something there. We have freedom to run our general warm-ups the way that we want. We can stray from what's given to us. So I don't know if that coach has a plan for a warm-up that all the equipment's going to be in their way. So I'll just run it by them. That's really one of the only things that pop into mind of why it would be okay for me to leave a lot of the equipment out.
Yeah. And I think to your point, you check in, hey, I use rowers for the warm up. Do you want me to keep that? Like, even middle of the day when we have essentially like shift changes where we've got a morning coach and then the afternoon, if you're there at the same time, we'll be like, hey, are you going to use the rowers for the warm up, or do you want me to put them away before I go? Like, that's huge. I think that's such a big, like, it's a small thing, but it makes a big impact. Well, that was fun. Things not to do. Hopefully you guys got some laughs out of some of that stuff. And more importantly, just a reminder of the things that we want to do to make the experience the way that we want. With that, Kristin, what do we got coming up? What do we got? What do we need to announce?
We got good stuff coming up. We got 2 more stops on the affiliate tour. So if you haven't been to one of our affiliate tour stops, we're partnering with HSN and delivering just a free event, super valuable for affiliate owners to learn how to run a better gym. One on DC, and then we got another one on the schedule for Denver. And then even bigger in October is Affiliate Con. So whether you're an athlete, a coach, affiliate owner, this is where you want to be at. This is the event that everybody's been saying we should do. That takes a back seat at the CrossFit Games because we have a competition going on. But this is an event totally towards athletes, coaches, and owners getting better. It's in Dallas. Be there. And then the Knowledge and Affiliate U. If you're a coach trying to get better, jump into Knowledge. Use the code Best Hour Live, 20% off. And if you're an affiliate owner, we've got 10 days left to enter in to win affiliate dues for the year. So if you sign up for affiliate due, you're entered into a raffle, and everybody who signs up by the end of the month gets a free credential that you can use for yourself or your coach.
Dude, that's awesome. And you, Kristin, you go to Comic-Con every year, right? And what are your outfits? Are you going to wear one of those outfits? Is that like Deadpool or something like that? Who are you?
I'm going to dress up as Jason Ackerman.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, Philly-Con. Like, think of this thing as Comic-Con, but for CrossFit. So you got to wear an outfit and come up with your favorite CrossFit personality. I think that's who you're supposed to dress like. So you're going as Ackerman. That'll be great. So you'll have a fanny pack on. That'll be fantastic. So see you guys there. All right. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. Now, if you're a coach who wants to coach more effectively, impact your members, and advance your career? Then the Knowledge Pro is the next step. Inside, you'll get hundreds of coaching videos, weekly calls with level 4 coaches, and direct feedback on your coaching. From homework reviews to full class breakdowns, we do it all. This is the best way to grow as a coach and take your skills to the next level. Now you can join the Knowledge Pro at besthouroftheirday.com/the-knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen. Now keep coaching, keep improving, and we'll see you next time.